Hey everybody, Dirili here. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Hakuouki, Demon of the Fleeting Blossom. We're on Hijikata's path, but there are still common scenes that are shared between characters that we still have to forward through. So at the moment we are celebrating after getting that reward from the notice board and all, and Kimigiku's here entertaining as a geisha. You know that part. But right now we're just having a private conversation with Hijikata, so you can just sit back, relax, and let me read you a story. I could feel a warm breeze drifting in through the open window.
Alright, now it's time for the real party to start. Ready, Sano? Want to see it?
Now you're talking. Can't have a party without Sana's unique performance.
Well, I guess I don't have a choice then, do I? How could I say no to you guys anyway? What a guy. Can you get us a brush and some ink, ma'am?
Their voices echoed out of the other room, drifting through the warm air. We don't get to see it this time. The look on Hijikata's face was one I'd never seen before.
Man, takes me back.
I'm sorry?
We used to run this poor sword school back in Tama. We'd drink like this every night. This reminds me of that. There were a lot of men who wanted to know how to swing a sword, in case we went to war or something, but not too many of them wanted to learn from a bunch of country hicks. We didn't have much in the way of money or students, but it was still fun.
Hijikata's face as he spoke was warm and kind, not the sort of thing I would have expected from a commander who's been called him the demon.
Something up?
Oh, I was just surprised you used to, do that.
What do you mean? You think I spent my whole life being a cold-hearted bastard, knocking around idiot kids in an attempt to get them into some sort of order?
Yeah, pretty much. I could hardly tell him that was exactly what I'd thought, so I sputtered and mumbled desperately. Instead of the irritated frown I expected, his tranquil warm expression remained, and he went on almost as if I'd said nothing.
I still think about it every so often. It wasn't too long ago I was just a street merchant, selling my family's medicine. Now I wear swords and work for the shogun. Sometimes I wonder if this is just a long dream, and eventually I'm going to have to wake up.
By the time he finished, he seemed to be speaking more to himself than to me. The moon had risen outside our window, and as he looked up, the light washed over his face, the cool glow playing across his handsome features. Just like Kimigiko had said, he was as good-looking as an actor. After her, though, a girl like myself had to seem awfully plain, especially next to a man as beautiful as he.
Oh, I can't stand it. Stop it, Sano. I'm laughing so hard I can't breathe. Come on, you're the idiot. Who got me up here in the first place? Now you want me to stop right in the middle of it?
You're the greatest, Sano! One more time! The party lasted until morning. There was the Fury Corps to worry about, and now a girl who looked just like me. It was a lot to think about, but it was hard to feel down when everyone around me was having such a great time. This time we are worried about the soldiers again. And this time, someone high-ranking for the first time, so I get some extra stuff. The heads of the Shinsengumi seemed like the best people to ask, but they were all still talking in the common room. Perhaps I should wait a bit until they were done. Almost as if on cue, Hijikata appeared in the hallway. Oh, hello, Hijikata.
Shouldn't you be resting?
Oh, I feel a lot better now.
Your dad's a doctor, and you know a little about medicine, but that doesn't mean you're invulnerable. Go back to your room and try not to run around too much.
You're not my dad! Okay, I'll be careful. It was easy to forget one had suffered a significant injury when it healed almost completely by morning. I'll go back to my room, but can I ask you something first?
What?
It's about Ito and the people who are leaving with him. How do you feel about all that?
What do you mean?
Well, people who are members of the Shinsengumi won't be.
We were allies yesterday, but if our positions change, we could be enemies tomorrow. That's life.
No wonder they called him the demon. His voice was cold, calculating, and utterly flat. That doesn't mean he's not feeling something underneath. But what about Saito and Heisuke? They had all been captains together. Surely Hijikata saw them as friends at least.
Saito and Todo. It's going to be tough to lose a pair of skilled swordsmen, yes. But think about the future. If they're leaving, they had some problem with the Shinsengumi. Better they leave now than before that problem gets worse.
How could he be so cold and analytical about his friends? On the other hand, his logic made sense. If Ito and the company were leaving because they were incompatible with the Shinsengumi, then perhaps it was for the best. But was the best thing for the future of the Shinsengumi also the best thing for Hijikata? I couldn't understand. Here once again we choose yes. Apparently we only choose no for pursuing Kazuma. This time go outside and try to attack. New stuff. Kazuma had a good hold of me from behind, but he hadn't bothered to restrain my arms. Perhaps he simply thought that there was nothing I could do, or that I wouldn't dare to attack him. Or perhaps he thought that even if I did, he'd have no difficulty dealing with my attacks. I wasn't foolish enough to think I might actually beat him in a fight, but at least I could try and defend myself. I'd let the Shinsengumi deal with my problems on their own long enough. Yeah! I jerked my kodachi out of its scabbard and swung it at him. Before I could even reach him, Kazuma's hand shot out to grab my sword arm, stopping me as surely as if I'd hit a wall. Look how amused he is. Ugh! His hand slid to my wrist, and he twisted viciously. It was strong enough that I thought for a moment my bones would break. With a cry, my sword flew from my fingers.
Pointless. You thought you'd actually hit me? No, but I will. What?
My aborted attack had distracted Kazuma for a split second, but that was all the time Hijikata needed. Within the space of a breath, he closed the distance between himself and my captor, the tip of his blade leaping toward Kazuma's throat.
Damn it.
Almost too quickly to see, he leaned out of the way. Hijikata's blade hissed through the air centimeters from his neck. A lesser man, a human, would have been dead, and so for a moment Kazuma's demon strength and reflexes were focused on the sword at his throat. That moment was long enough for me to break free. Oh, I'm being embraced and protected. I felt a gentle, powerful arm curl around my body, catching and sheltering me at the same time. Hijikata?
Thought you were supposed to stay in your room. You're a real pain, kid.
I know. I'm sorry.
Still, you did good.
If I had stayed there, Amagiri would have got me, so... What?
Wouldn't have had that opening without you. Good job.
Praise from Hijikata was not something I was accustomed to. I opened my mouth to say... I wasn't sure what, when...
The girl is mine. I will not give her to a mere human.
Kazuma had recovered quickly from the attack, and his eyes smoldered with cold fury.
Sorry, but I can't give her to you. The Shinsengumi's responsible for her now. We gave our word. No going back.
I felt his grip on me tighten as he spoke.
Chizuru, you know you're a demon, yes? Then come, join me.
No, I'll never join you. I'm staying here, and please leave.
You would choose a simple human, then? Oh, too bad, Kazuma. Looks like you got dumped.
I hadn't even noticed Shiranui appear, but behind him I could see the Fury Corps ready for battle. And at their head was Sanan.
There you are. The Fury Corps will be your opponent. This is an excellent chance for you to witness our tremendous strength.
And to call you fakes?
These men are fresh, ready to fight. What would you do?
Amagiri, too, had betrayed no hint of his presence until he simply appeared.
So, they could have a whole army of these chumps, and they wouldn't be a match for us. I say we take them apart.
His tongue flicked over his lips, and his grin was almost hungry.
Yes, do. Show us just how superior you are. This is a farce. We retreat.
With no further deliberation, they leapt over the wall to the street and were gone. The Shinsengumi did not pursue them. My feet sagged with relief, as the terrified energy of the last few minutes quickly ebbed away.
All right, we won't see them again tonight.
The warmth of his arm lingered for a few moments after he'd let go of me. Hijikata? Thank you.
Hey, what's the status of the injured?
He's just gonna ignore that thanks. Oh. The moment he'd let go, he turned away to deal with his men. He hadn't even heard me. His face was cold and hard, the face of the demon of the Shinsengumi. As the last of his warmth left me, I shivered in the cold night air. I wouldn't say he forgot ya, he just doesn't like to show things like that. And for once I get to go help with Ito, am I going to actually witness his execution? His murder? I would help lure Ito into the trap the Shinsengumi had planned for him. He was quite cautious at first, but after some prompting to talk about issues he was familiar with and the liberal application of alcohol, he loosened up significantly. His high spirits provided an almost sickening contrast to the fate that awaited him. It's always sad when they're oblivious like that.
Nationalism is very nearly a taboo term these days, you know.
His laughter echoed hollowly through my skull. In his smile I could already see the rictus grin of a corpse. We were entertaining Ito at Kondo's second home, and all night the alcohol had flown easily.
Even the Satsuma and Choshi would finally realize they could not rival the foreign technology and influence, and had begun to adopt outside culture. I see. Such as? Oh, let me think. Yes, for example, the gun, firearms. They've managed to import a great many guns, and have been training their men in Western warfare and tactics.
He nodded sagely and gestured somewhat awkwardly with his cup. Kondo nodded solemnly in agreement.
Interesting. Maybe we should start thinking about training the Shinsengumi in Western tactics.
I didn't realize there were this many people involved in Ito's assassination. I kind of thought it was more of a stealth job.
Yes, you agree. You must be able to see the big picture these days. Yeah, we might be on different paths, but we're all headed for the same destination. Another drink, Ito?
Here you are. It was perfectly normal alcohol, no poison or drugs, but we were making him drunk in order to murder him. How is that any different than me pouring poison straight into his cup?
Oh my goodness, dear, you're shaking. Are you alright? Are you feeling ill? You needn't worry about her, Ito. She's just nervous about speaking to you. Oh my. How am I so terribly intriguing? Oh, what a bad girl you are.
I didn't know that he knew I was a girl.
Yeah, she gives herself away too easily. Kids need a little self-control.
The subtle message was clear. Hide your emotions, Chizuru. I swallowed and nodded. It had been my choice to help with Ito's assassination. The least I could do now was not get in the way. Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, rubbish. This is a party. We needn't be so stiff. Ito, you truly are a man worthy of distinction.
Time passed, and alcohol was drunk.
Oh, it was nice to enjoy a meaningful conversation. And now, farewell.
After spending all night expounding on his theories for the advancement of Japanese society, Ito finally stumbled off into the darkness, more than a little drunk. I watched him disappear. It would be the last time I would see him alive.
This feels wrong, Toshi. It's the path we chose. It's our duty to do this. But that doesn't mean we have to be proud of it. Sometimes the job's dirty. Look, Chief. This one's not on your head, all right? I made the plan. I gave the orders.
Hijikata let out a long sigh, his eyes staring off into the darkness where Ito had gone. What happened afterwards was not something I care to remember. Ito, too drunk to fight back, was quickly and easily killed by the men waiting for him. But the night was far from over. Battle and bloodshed awaited Aburano Koji for Nagakura and the men set to ambush the guardians of the imperial tomb. Fate waited for Okita, convalescing at the headquarters in Fudodo village. For them, for all of us, waited a night after which nothing would be the same. And here I went to help. Ah, this is when I get sent out to deliver a message to Saito? Is that what this is? And since we're not romancing Saito, this time we return immediately. No point in chatting with you, buddy. Even though you're really hot. It occurred to me that Hijikata had hardly been in a sunny mood when he'd given me the letter. If I dawdled after leaving it, that mood was extremely unlikely to improve. Alright, I'm heading back. This took a little bit longer than I expected, so I need to hurry.
Of course. Be careful.
I went back the same way I'd come, but by the time I returned to the Shinsengumi compound, the sun had set completely. I hoped I wasn't too late. Hopefully Hijikata wouldn't be too mad. I'm back!
Oh, come in.
Right. The moment I stepped through the door, I could tell he was in a foul mood. The very air was heavy with it. Sorry.
What, did you lose the letter? Or did you not even make it there? You got lost, I knew it.
No, of course not. I got there just fine, and I gave Saito the letter.
Good. Then why did you apologize just now?
Oh, well, you looked really upset. I thought you were mad that I'd taken so long. As he sighed, I saw the tension in his shoulders ease just a little bit.
No, I'm not mad at you.
Oh, really?
It may surprise you to learn that I have many things to think about besides you.
Yes, right. Did something bad happen?
Yeah, a lot of bad things. You know we've been having some trouble with the Shinsengumi, but things are starting to get dicey with the people above us, too. You're practically one of us, so I might as well tell you. There are rumblings that something might happen to the shogunate. If the shogunate's position changes, then so does Aizu's position in Kyoto, and eventually that trickles down to us.
What's going to happen?
Well, unfortunately, we won't know until it does. Of course, it's not like me worrying about it's going to do anyone any good. I can make some educated guesses, and prepare the Shinsengumi for some things, but...
Perhaps it was because he'd never been so open with me before, but I'd never thought about just how much Hijikata did for the Shinsengumi. The Shinsengumi's fate was his fate, and his decisions could steer it to glory or destruction. It was an unimaginably heavy burden to someone like me. Is there anything else I could do to help?
What? Running off to Tenma wasn't enough for you?
If the Shinsengumi is in a rough spot, then... Please, I just want to help. I want to be useful. His scowl deepened, but he said nothing. Please, Hijikata. I bowed down until all I could see was the floor. Please, I'm begging you. I bent down as far as I could. He had to.
Damn.
I heard him move and felt something touch my chin. Oh. I opened my eyes to see his fingers under my chin, warm and dry. He lifted my face up until I was looking straight into his eyes. He was so close that I could feel his breath.
You say you want to help?
Yes.
Do you think it's wrong for you to think that?
No.
Do you want this for selfish reasons?
No. I mean, it's not like I want to make a name for myself or something like that. You've all risked your lives to protect me over and over. I just want to give you something back.
Then don't bow so easily. You believe you're right. Why should you bow if you think you're right?
Yes.
If you believe something, then don't ever bow or yield. Hold your head high and walk tall. You won't win if you don't keep your eyes on the prize.
Yes. I looked back at him with all the composure I could muster. I want to help. If there's anything I can do, please let me do it.
Fine.
He gave a quick smile and returned to where he'd been sitting when I came in.
If you want to help so much, go make me some tea.
That I can do. Yes.
The fate of the Shinsengumi rests on this tea. Don't screw it up.
That's some important tea. Let's do it, Chizuru. Yes, sir. Leave it to me. Unable to hide my smile, I leapt up and bounded out of the room. Just before I was out of earshot, I heard Hijikata mumble to himself.
What's going to happen to us now?
Only time will tell. And some new text. With the new year just around the corner, the Satsuma Choshu Alliance formed an army and marched on the capital. In response, the Shinsengumi moved to the Fushimi magistrate's office and began to prepare for war.
Hey, bad news, guys! The chief's been attacked!
There had been no witnesses, and the culprit had escaped unseen. Their motives can only be guessed at. Well, Shinsengumi's got a lot of enemies.
We still haven't figured out who attacked the chief? I'll bet you anything it's those bastards from the Satsuma Choshu Alliance.
Ever since the attack on Kondo, the atmosphere at the Fushimi magistrate's office has been tense, to say the least. I felt it increase as I stepped into the meeting room, carrying tea for the captains. Here's your tea.
Oh, thanks. Could you just leave it there?
I seemed to have walked in on a very serious discussion. All around the room were tense, drawn faces.
So, what's your plan? The Satsuma Choshu Alliance wants power in the court, but they're also looking to have the Emperor grant them all the Shogunate's assets and holdings. There's no other way to look at it. They're trying to start a war. We'd be smart to start preparing for one. You have a point. They've been sucking up to the Emperor, and they come and go at the palace like they own the place. It wasn't just the other day that they were declared enemies of the court, and not even allowed into Kyoto.
Yeah, things change fast.
No. So far as preparing for war.
Hijikata's eyes darted from man to man across the room, looking for someone to speak up.
Sanan's been pushing hard to augment the Fury Corps. I'm against that. This is war, not subduing the odd Ronin. There are going to be enemies and allies everywhere in battle. I don't think we'll be able to control them. They're powerful, but it's too risky. Agreed. Besides, it's inhumane. Then, what do you suggest? If you wish to disprove, you should offer an alternate path. We're working on that. If it was so easy to come up with a solution, you really think we'd be in this mess?
He shot Saito a glare.
What's your take on this, Commander?
Hijikata furrowed his brow and frowned.
Let me think about it. We need to see what the Satsuma and Choshu are going to do, and we have to consider what the Shogunate wants.
Kondo's injury had put everyone on edge, even without a war inching closer day by day. I wondered how Heisuke and Sanan felt about what was coming, now that they were Furies. The Fury Corps was only active when I went to sleep, so I never got to see them. When I couldn't fall asleep that night, I decided to go visit Okita, who was still trying to recover from his illness. Good evening, Okita. How are you feeling? I arrived to find that Heisuke had also come to visit Okita to pass the time.
Oh, hey Chizuru. What are you doing up so late? People might get the wrong idea if they see a girl visiting a man's room in the middle of the night.
Oh, Heisuke, you're smarter than that. You know Okita and I aren't... you know.
Yeah, I guess you have a point. That's not really your sort of thing, is it?
Hey, what do you mean?
What do you mean, what do you mean? Come on.
He chuckled and tossed Okita what seemed to have been intended as a knowing grin, but the older man was far too annoyed to notice.
Why are you here? I assume you've got a reason for visiting me in the middle of the night.
Couldn't sleep, so I thought I'd bug the sick guy. Oh, His tone stole away some of my determination, but I pushed ahead anyway. Do you guys know that, Sanan wants to augment the Fury Corps? As soon as the words were out of my mouth, Heisuke's face clouded over.
Yeah, of course.
Okita was a little more forthcoming.
Oh, if you were in Sanan's position, wouldn't you do the same thing? If I wasn't like this, I'd pick up my sword right now and go and get revenge for Kondo.
Okita's bed rest was clearly rankling him. After all, he'd known Kondo for a long time, since they'd met in Edo long before the beginning of the Shinsengumi. What do you think, Heisuke?
Me? Well, I did decide to drink the water of life, but I'm not gonna lie, I was worried about what would happen to me. Sanan says we should have more men in the Fury Corps. He says we'll never win otherwise.
Oh. He was so unlike the Heisuke I remembered, so stern and cold, but I couldn't help but feel sad as well.
Oh, no matter what Sanan says, at the end of the day, it's going to be Hijikata who makes the call.
You're right, but the Fury Corps already exists. We can't pretend it doesn't.
And maybe Sanan's right, and we should use the Fury Corps however we see fit. At least they can still wield swords.
His last words were cold, hateful, and filled with self-derision. Perhaps we could use the Furies as a weapon. They might help us win the forthcoming war. Their strength would be an undeniable military asset. But once the war was over, what would become of them? I was afraid to ask that question, because I feared I already knew the answer.
Would they dispose of them, actually?
The next day, an unexpected visitor arrived. Oh! Sen! Hello, Chizuru. It's been far too long. Sen, Kimigiku, why are you here?
We have business with the chief. Can you go get him for us?
Oh, Kondo isn't in good enough shape to speak to anyone. Perhaps Hijikata... Then Hijikata will serve admirably. Alright, please come inside.
Huh? We don't usually allow visitors in here. What do you want?
My apologies for intruding, but it was imperative that I speak with you today. I'll go make some tea. No, thank you, but that's not necessary. I shall take my leave as soon as I am finished. And, in fact, I would prefer you stay. You may wish to hear this as well.
Okay. What did she have to say that was so important, and that might be something I should hear? I sat down in a corner and did my best to pay attention.
I have come to discuss your Furies.
When he heard the word Furies, I saw his face twitch.
I will get straight to the point. How much longer will you employ them?
What do you mean?
You've kept them enslaved for quite some time. I believe you know exactly what I mean. The Furies are a failed experiment. Even the Shogunate has admitted to that. They are too much for your organization to deal with. With demons on your trail, you would do well to wash your hands of the Furies.
Hijikata's frown deepened.
Isn't it up to us whether they're a failure or not? We've done our own research on the Water of Life. I don't think it's your place to judge us, ma'am.
He narrowed his eyes at Sen, and they glittered like spear points, but she seemed unconcerned. It was Kimigiku who spoke up.
Then, are you aware that the Shinsengumi's Furies have been murdering people on the street to test their strength? What?
For a split second, his cold mask dropped, and I saw genuine confusion and dismay on his face. Then it was gone, and he was cold and composed again.
Where did you hear that?
Well, I've no reason to tell you, but rest assured that it was from a reliable source. You have not been able to keep the Water of Life from driving your men mad. Your job is to protect the safety of the capital, correct? And yet our men roam the streets, killing innocent civilians. It disgusts me. Before this becomes common knowledge, I strongly suggest you disband the Fury Corps. And on that note of ... we will leave off this video and continue Hijikata's route in the next one. Hey, in this picture here, with them facing that way, they actually look kind of like brother and sister, with the same color hair and same color eyes and everything. Sorry, okay. Anyway, hope to see you on my next video or some of my other ones, and I'd be so grateful for any likes, comments, subscriptions, or shares with your friends to show some support. Thank you so much for joining me, and I wish you all health, happiness, and safety. Dirili signing out. Bye bye, everybody.